Like all serious food YouTubers, I'm making the bread from scratch. Pour 1 3/4 cups of warm water into a large bowl. Add 2 teaspoons of granulated sugar, stir until the sugar is dissolved. Add 1 packet of active dry yeast. Stir, and let the mixture rest for about 5 minutes to let the yeast come alive. If the mixture doesn't foam up, it's time to start over. Using a kitchen scale, add 500 grams of all-purpose flour into a foamy yeast-water mixture. Then add 2 teaspoons of salt. Using a stand mixer, start on low and slowly incorporate the water with the flour, and then medium speed for 5 minutes. Okay, the dough looks pretty wet, but I think it's fine. Take another bowl, completely brush the inside with olive oil, making sure to go pretty high up on the bowl, and transfer your dough into the new bowl. Cover with plastic wrap and let it rest for 1.5 hours or until the dough has doubled in size. Alright, as the dough rests, let's prepare some of the fillings. First, I'm going to be making a pistachio cream. I'm shelling roughly a cup of pistachios and I'm blending it in a food processor. I blended it until I smell my food processor burning, so I figured that's a good time to stop and let my food processor live another day. It wasn't as creamy as I liked, but some sandwiches call for both pistachio cream and chopped pistachios, so I figured this is the best of both worlds. Next, I'm using mozzarella as a substitute for stracciatella. I read online that stracciatella is just shredded mozzarella that's soaked in cream, so that's exactly what I'm doing here. Give it a good mix, cover it in plastic wrap, and let the mozzarella absorb the cream in the fridge. Next, get a 1/4 sheet baking pan. Rub it down on all sides with butter. Then pour some olive oil into it, and brush all the sides with olive oil. This is to ensure that the dough is not going to stick to the pan while baking. Now that our dough has doubled in size, rub your hands with olive oil so it doesn't stick to the dough and gently pull the dough away from the sides of the bowl and roughly form a ball. Then transfer the dough into the baking sheet we just prepared. Stretch the dough to the edge of the pan and let it relax, and then stretch again. Repeat this process until the dough stays at the edge and then cover it with plastic wrap. Let the dough rest for 45 minutes or until doubled in size. Now it's time to prepare some toppings for the bread. I'm cutting some rosemary I bought from Home Depot, and then I'm cutting some frozen garlic into big chunks. Now that our dough has doubled in size, take off the plastic wrap and oil your hands again. Pour some olive oil on the dough, and then use your fingers to poke holes all the way through the dough for that classic focaccia look. Then bruise the rosemary and scatter it on top of the dough. And I have a confession to make here. The actual bread used in the Florentine sandwich is schiacciata and not focaccia, but all the schiacciata recipes call to rest the dough overnight, and I really wanted to film this in one day, so I think it's close enough. And then randomly stick the garlic into the holes we made earlier. And then finish it off with some salt, and it's ready to go into the oven for 425 for 30 minutes. After taking it out of the oven, transfer it to a wire rack to let it rest for another hour before cutting into it. And look at that beautiful golden brown crust. Now it's time to make the sandwich. I'm going to first cut the focaccia into quarters. Now I'm going to spread on the pistachio cream, and it was at this point that I realized that what I made was pistachio butter, and after some extensive Google searches, I found that pistachio cream is actually a completely different thing, made with pistachios, cream, and white chocolate. Oh well. All the cold cuts I'm using today are all from Costco. For the first sandwich, I'm using 2 types of salami. And then I'm topping it off with mozzarella soaked in cream. And that looks beautiful. For the second sandwich, I'm using 2 types of salami again, but this time I'm also adding the prosciutto. So good.